1 week, 2 stories. A fella getting away with murder. So bad that even some local reporters are having trouble believing it. Let's start out in Denver. An Uber driver, a fella, picks up an Asian guy at a karaoke bar. 2 miles from his house. The karaoke guy's drunk. He's blowing a .30. When he gets to his house, he's not even awake. But when he does awake, he's 70 miles away from his house. He opens his eyes and goes, "Hey, what's up?" Within a few minutes, he's dead. The fella pulls over his car, gets out of the car, goes over to the passenger side, dumps 10 bullets into the car, hitting the Asian guy 6 times. The Asian guy is older, smaller, weaker, and drunker than the black guy. The black guy said the Asian guy attacked him. The black guy said he felt in danger for his life. The black guy said the Asian guy was making sexual advances on him.
Focus on a murder trial verdict that really took a lot of people by surprise.
Denver Uber driver Michael Hancock is a free man tonight after being acquitted in the killing of passenger Hyun Kim. Our Lance Hernandez was in the courtroom today and joins us tonight from the newsroom. Lance, Hancock is out of the woods, but this case is not necessarily over.
And an attorney representing the victim's family says they will file a wrongful death lawsuit against Uber and against Michael Hancock. But that's down the road. Today, there was a celebration in the lobby of the downtown Denver jail. Family members ecstatic that Michael Hancock was released. Now, after exiting the jail, he ran as fast as he could to get away. Hancock was tried and acquitted of first-degree murder in the death of his passenger Hyun Kim, who was shot 6 times. His mom telling reporters that she knew he would be acquitted. But the trouble not over yet, as you mentioned. Today, an attorney representing the victim, Hyun Kim's family, said they will file a civil suit against Hancock and against Uber.
Jury bought it hook, line, and sinker. Nobody knows if any of that is true. All we know for sure is that the black guy, under no threat to his own life, got out of the car, walked all the way around, killed the Asian guy, and he convinced a jury that drunk Asian guy could barely keep his eyes open was somehow presented a threat to his life. In Philadelphia, we just got the verdict in today. A story just as strange. There's a guy named Shellnagger. He's a businessman, 30-some years old. He and his buddies are riding around in a limo. They're stuck in traffic. A car full of fellas is in the intersection and the car is not moving. Shellnagger gets out of the car, goes up and says, "Move your car." This other guy named Michael White comes along. He and Shellnagger have words. Next thing you know, they're wrestling. The fella takes a knife out, plunges it into Shellnagger's back, and he dies.
Michael White walked out of a courthouse this afternoon after a jury found him not guilty of voluntary manslaughter. He was accused in the 2018 stabbing death of Sean Skellinger in Rittenhouse Square. It is Thursday afternoon. I'm Shari Williams.
And I'm Brian Taft. The big story on Action News today is that not guilty verdict reached today just 1 day after deliberations began.
Action News reporter Corey Davis was in that courtroom today when that verdict was read. And Corey, Skellinger's mother had a very emotional reaction.
Hey, Shari and Brian, so many strong emotions and reactions inside the courtroom and outside here. I can tell you Skellinger's mom interrupted the judge. She wasn't happy about the district attorney decision to reduce the original charge from third-degree murder down to voluntary manslaughter. Michael, what do you want to say about the verdict?
Anything to say at all?
22-year-old Michael White walking out of court, not answering any of our questions. A judge found him not guilty of voluntary manslaughter after stabbing Sean Skellinger in Rittenhouse Square back in July of 2018. White's mother after the verdict.
I'm thankful. I'm happy. And that's it.
On the other side of this, Skellinger's family outraged at the jury's decision. Also upset that District Attorney Larry Krasner reduced the initial charge of third-degree murder down to voluntary manslaughter right before the trial.
Larry Krasner needs to be arrested today for obstruction of justice. He has blood on his hands, just like Michael White. My son has already received a life sentence.
Skellinger's mother was escorted out of the courtroom after interrupting the judge when the verdict was read. Skellinger's father saying the change of charges was political.
It's not about what's right. It's not about justice. How do I feel? I'm absolutely sick to my stomach.
The assistant district attorney not commenting on outbursts against his boss, only focusing on Skellinger.
He died at the age of 37, face down in the street, having been stabbed following a minor traffic dispute. And that is a tragedy.
White's family spokesperson telling us it's a tragedy he'll never forget.
He understands that someone has lost their life. I mean, that's a very difficult thing to live with.
Later on, Michael White, the fella who killed Schellnegger, he says when he saw Schellnegger in the car, in the limo, and he could see through the window, he could see them moving their lips, and he could see they were using racial epithets directed at the guys in the intersection. So he knew he better stick around. He knew he better take his knife out of his backpack. Schellnegger goes up, starts talking to the guy, and all of a sudden Schellnegger says, "I'm going to beat the black out of you." Then he attacked him. Unfortunately, there were a lot of people on the scene. Michael White, the killer, is the only one who heard him say that. That's two things he heard him say that nobody else heard. Michael White takes off, ditches the knife. They look at his phone the next day. They figure out that 9 days before, he'd been sending a text message to some girl in Florida saying, "Don't mess with me or I will cut you." A jury found him innocent as well. 2 in 1 week.
Please, sir. I want some more.
Open season on old white dudes, open season on old Asian dudes in Philadelphia and Denver. A reminder, if you're traveling in either one of those places, think twice before making the black kids angry.